You're drowning in credit card debt. Every card maxed out. And no matter what you try, the balance just won't budge. But what if I told you it's not your fault? And that with one strategy, a method almost no one talks about, could erase $15,000 of credit card debt in under 2 years. Even if you got zero cash left at the end of each month. Sounds wild, right? But I'm going to prove it to you. You're about to learn a debt eliminating strategy called velocity banking. No, it's not a gimmick, and no, you won't hear it from your bank or favorite finance YouTuber. But once you understand how it works, you never look at debt the same way again. Here's what you're going to be getting in this video. A clear real-world example of how velocity banking works to erase credit card debt, the top objections, confusions, and hate comments that I've gotten on this, answered and debunked, and how to use it even when you got multiple cards maxed out. But let me be honest with you, this isn't a magic trick. This strategy works, the math is airtight, but it demands consistency and discipline. If you are ready to finally stop treading water and actually crush your debt, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start off with a realistic example. The median household income in the United States is roughly around $78,500 a year. So let's use that as our starting point. Now, I got some heat in my last video because people said that I didn't account for taxes. Fair enough. So this time we're doing it right. After taxes, insurance, and all other deductions that come out of your paycheck, you're probably taking home roughly around 20 to 25% less than your gross income. So if you're making around $78,500 a year, that's roughly around $5,000 a month hitting your bank account after everything is taken out. So this example is going to be clean, simple, and easy to follow. Now, in this scenario, you would also have $5,000 worth of expenses every single month. This means that you have zero cash flow, nothing left over, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you're barely keeping your head above water. So let me break down where that $5,000 is going. About half your income, so $2,500, goes towards things that cannot be paid with a credit card. This includes things like rent or your mortgage, your car payment, student loans, utilities, and your minimum payments on other credit cards. The other $2,500 covers everything else, like gas, groceries, subscriptions, eating out, all those little expenses that add up throughout the month. These are things that can be paid with a credit card. So at the end of the month, you have $0 left over in your checking account. Nothing saved, nothing for emergencies, you're stuck. Now let's talk about the credit card that we're going to try to pay off. In this example, you have a credit card with a $15,000 balance. It's maxed out, the minimum payment is $400 a month, which is about 4% of the balance, and the interest rate is 20%. Now, here's the scary part that most people don't realize. If you only make that $600 minimum payment every single month, it's gonna take you over 30 years to pay off this card. And you're gonna pay more than $25,000 just in interest. That means that you're gonna be paying $40,000 total to get rid of $15,000 worth of debt. That's not okay. And that's why exactly we need a better plan. All right, so here's where the strategy comes in. This is gonna sound a little bit scary at first, but trust me, once you see how the math works, it's gonna make perfect sense. So here's what you're gonna do. When your $5,000 paycheck hits your bank account, the first thing that you need to do is pay all of your expenses that cannot be paid with a credit card. That's $2,500 for rent, your car payment, and everything else that we talked about. This leaves $2,500 left in your checking account. Now, instead of letting that money sit in your account and slowly spending it throughout the month, you're gonna take that entire $2,500 and immediately pay it towards your maxed out credit card. I know, it sounds terrifying, but stay with me. So we start month one with a $15,000 balance on the card. You make a $2,500 payment, which brings the balance down to $12,500. Now, here's the key. You wanna make this payment a few days before your statement closing date, not your due date. Again, your statement closing date. This is the date when your credit card company reports your balance to the credit bureaus. By paying it down before this date, you're gonna show a much lower utilization rate. Instead of showing 100% utilization, you're now showing about 83%. This is gonna give your credit score a nice little boost. And trust me, if you're gonna be doing this month after month, your score is gonna keep on climbing. Now, throughout the month, you're gonna be using your credit card for all of your expenses. Gas, groceries, subscriptions, anything that you would normally pay for anyways. And here's where people get confused. So pay close attention. You have $2,500 worth of expenses every month, right? But you're not going to charge the full $2,500 back to the card. You're only going to be charging $1,900 because when you made that $2,500 payment at the beginning of the month, you automatically satisfied the $600 minimum payment that was due. That $600 bill is now taken care of and it's gone. This creates $600 of wiggle room that didn't exist before. So let me say this again because this is the part that most people miss. By putting your paycheck into the credit card before the statement closes, you're satisfying the minimum payment. And since the payment is now handled, you only need to cover $1,900 in actual expenses throughout the month. This means that your balance at the end of the month is $14,400. You started with $15,000, Now you end up with $14,400. That's $600 of real progress. And you did this with zero extra cash flow. Now I need to address something because I know some of you are probably thinking, what about the interest? You're not including the interest in this math. You're right, I'm keeping the numbers simple so you can see how the strategy works. But let me explain how interest actually affects this. On a $15,000 balance with a 20% interest rate, you're getting charged around $250 a month in interest. But here's the thing, when you pay down the balance at the beginning of the month, your interest is calculated on a much lower balance throughout the billing cycle. So instead of paying interest on $15,000 for the entire month, you're paying interest on $12,500. This means that your interest charge for that month is going to be closer to $208 instead of $250. You're saving money on interest every single month because you're paying down balances early. Now, even with the interest, you're still making around $350 to $400 of real progress every month. And as your balance gets lower, the interest gets smaller, which means that more of your payment actually goes towards reducing the debt. This is how you build momentum. But let me give you 2 tips that can make this even more powerful. First, you want to call your credit card company and ask them to lower your interest rate. I'm serious. Just call them up and ask. Tell them that you've been a good customer and you've been making your payments and you would like to see if they can lower your APR. You'd be surprised how often that they actually do it. I've done this multiple times on my own cards. If your card has a variable APR between 18 and 25%, you might be able to get them to drop it down to 18% or even lower. Second, if you're really struggling and you're in a tough financial spot, ask about hardship programs. A lot of banks and credit unions offer these. For example, Navy Federal has a program that can last up to 12 months where they can lower your interest rate significantly. Now, there is a catch. They usually will freeze that card and might reduce your credit limit during the program. But if you're in a position where you need some breathing room, this can be a lifesaver. For the strategy that we are talking about today, though, we need to keep using the card. So the hardship program might be something considered later if you need it. All right, so let's keep on going and see what happens in month 2. You start month 2 with a balance of $14,400. You get your $5,000 paycheck, you set aside $2,500 for rent and other bills, and you take the remaining $2,500 and put it towards the credit card. This brings your balance down to $11,900. Again, you charge $1,900 in expenses throughout the month because that $600 minimum payment is already taken care of. But at the end of month 2, your balance is $13,800. You've just paid off $1,200 in just 2 months. And remember, you didn't have any extra money to work with. You're still living paycheck to paycheck. Let's jump ahead to month 3. You start off with $13,800. You make your $2,500 payments, which brings down to $11,300. You charge $1,900 throughout the month, and you end up with $13,200. At this point, you freed up about $1,800 in available credit. This is important because now you have a small cushion for emergencies. Look, I know some of you are thinking, but what if my car breaks down? What if I need 2 tires? What if something comes up? Here's the thing, life happens, we all know that. Your car is gonna need repairs. You're gonna have unexpected expenses, that's just reality. But as long as you have available credit on this card, you can handle those emergencies. The credit card becomes your safety net. And as you continue to pay it down, the safety net gets bigger and bigger. The key is to get back on track as soon as you can. Think of it like a GPS. If you take the wrong turn, the GPS doesn't give up on you, it just recalculates and gets you back on the right path. This strategy works the same way. Now, let me show you what this looks like over time. If you stay disciplined and keep doing this month after month, by month 6, your balance is down to $10,800. By month 12, you're looking at $7,800. And by month 18, you're at $4,800. And here's where things get really interesting. At month 18, your credit utilization is now under 30%. This is the sweet spot for your credit score. At this point, your credit score has likely improved so much that you have some new options. You might be able to apply for a 0% balance transfer card, like the Citi Double Cash card or the Wells Fargo Reflect card. These cards let you transfer your remaining balance and pay 0 interest for 12 to 21 months. This can help you knock out the rest of the debt even faster. Or you might be able to request for a credit limit increase on your current card, which would lower your utilization even more and give your score another boost. But even if you don't do any of that, even if you just stick to the plan, by month 24, your balance is down to $600. You're almost done. And by month 25 or 26, depending on how much interest you're paying, that $15,000 credit card is completely paid off. You just eliminated $15,000 of debt in just 2 years, even though you were living paycheck to paycheck with 0 extra cash flow. That's the power of the strategy. Now, before I move on, I need to address one more thing. Some credit card companies might lower your credit limit after you make a large payment. I've seen this happen, especially with certain banks like Barclays. You make a big payment and they immediately drop your limit down to match your new balance. This means the utilization shoots back up to 100%, which kind of defeats the purpose. Though this doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. So here's what I recommend. Before you start the strategy, Call your credit card company and let them know that you're in a better financial position now and you're planning to make bigger payments to pay down your balance faster. Tell them that you continue to use the card for regular expenses and you want to maintain a good relationship with them. This doesn't guarantee that they will lower your limit, but it helps. And honestly, thousands of people have used this strategy without any issues. Just be aware that this is a possibility. All right, so now let's talk about what if you have multiple maxed out credit cards? Because let's be real, most people dealing with credit card debt aren't just dealing with one card. They might have 3, 4, or even 5 cards that are all maxed out or close to it. So to handle that, it is way simpler than you think. You apply the exact same strategy that we talked about, but focus on one card at a time. Here's how you would choose which card to tackle first. I recommend using the snowball method. This means that you pay off the card with the smallest balance first, regardless of the interest rate. Because psychologically, it is going to be easier to stay motivated when you get quick wins. When you pay off that first card completely, it feels amazing. And that momentum keeps you going. So let's just say that you have 3 maxed out cards. Card 1 has a $3,000 balance with a $120 minimum payment. Card 2 has a $7,000 balance with a $280 minimum payment. And card 3 has a $15,000 balance with a $600 minimum payment. We're going to attack card 1 by using velocity banking strategy that we just talked about. You're going to be making the minimum payments on cards 2 and 3, but all of your extra effort goes towards card 1. Let me walk you through 1 month so you can see how this works. You get your $5,000 paycheck. First, you pay $2,500 of rent, car payment, and other non-credit expenses, so that leaves you with $2,500. But remember, you also need to make minimum payments on card 2 and card 3. That's $280 plus $600, which equals $880. So after paying those minimums, you have about $1,620 left to work with. You take that entire $1,620 and pay it towards card 1, bringing the balance down to $1,380. Throughout the month, you charge around $1,500 of expenses to card 1. Because you already satisfied that $120 minimum payment with your initial payment, your actual new spending is only $1,380. By the end of the month, your balance on card 1 is $2,880, down from $3,000. You just knocked $120 off the card in a single month. Keep doing this until card 1 is paid off in about 25 months, maybe a little bit longer with interest, but still faster than if you were just going to make the minimum payment. Once card 1 is completely paid off, here's what you do. You take that $120 that you're putting towards card 1 every month and you add it to the money that you're going to be putting it towards card 2. Now you're attacking card 2 with even more firepower. And once card 2 is paid off, you just take all that money and attack card 3. This is how you create a snowball effect. Each card that you pay off makes the next one easier and faster to eliminate. And the best part is that your credit score keeps getting better the entire time because your utilization keeps dropping. Now, here's an advanced strategy that can even improve your credit score even faster once you paid off the first card. Let's say that you paid off card 1. Now it has a 0 balance with 0% utilization. That's awesome. But you still have card 2 and card 3 that are both sitting at 100% utilization. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. Your credit score looks at 2 things when it comes to utilization. It looks at your overall utilization across all of your cards, and also it looks at utilization on each individual card. So even though your overall utilization might be improving, having 2 cards sitting at 100% is still hurting your score. This is where a balance transfer can be really smart. Once card 1 is paid off and you have available credit sitting there, you could transfer some of the balance from card 2 or card 3 over to card 1. Now, I know what you're thinking, but doesn't a balance transfer cost money? Yes, most balance transfers come with a fee, usually around 3 to 5% of the amount that you're transferring. So if you're transferring $2,000, you might pay a $100 fee. But here's why it might be worth it. By spreading your balance across multiple cards instead of having them all maxed out, you can significantly improve your credit score. And a better credit score opens new opportunities. You might qualify for a personal loan at a much lower interest rate than what you're paying on your credit cards. We're talking 8 to 12% instead of 20 to 25. Or you might qualify for a debt consolidation loan that lets you combine all of your credit card debts into one monthly payment with a lower rate and a fixed paid off timeline. These loans can save you thousands of dollars in interest and help you get out of debt even faster. So let's say that you pay off card 1, which has a $3,000 limit. You'll use a balance transfer to move $2,000 from card 3 over to card 1. You pay the $100 fee, but now card 3 is showing 87% utilization instead of 100%. And card 1 is showing 67% utilization instead of 0%. Your overutilization stays about the same, but now you don't have any cards at 100%, which will give your credit score a nice boost. And that boost might be exactly what you need to qualify for a personal loan or debt consolidation loan that will save you thousands in interest. Now, here's the important part. Just because you can qualify for more debt does not mean that you should go back to your old habits. Do not max out your credit cards again. If you get a personal loan to pay off your credit card debt, use it for that purpose only. Pay off the cards, then focus on paying off that loan. And once you're out of debt, stay out of debt. This strategy is about getting you out of the hole that you're in, not giving you permission to dig a new one. Use these tools wisely, stay disciplined, and you'll be amazed how fast you can turn your financial life around. Look, I know that this strategy sounds intense, and I know some of you might be thinking, there's no way that I can actually do this, but here's the truth. If you're living paycheck to paycheck right now, you're already doing something hard. You're already scraping by every month with no breathing room. This strategy doesn't require you to make more money. It doesn't require you to cut your expenses down to nothing. It just requires you to be intentional about what you do with your money that you already have. Yes, it's going to take discipline. Yes, it's going to take commitment, but anything worth doing in life takes effort. And trust me, the feeling of watching your balance drop month after month is incredible. The weight that lifts off your shoulders when you finally pay off that first card is worth every bit of effort. You can do this. I've seen thousands of people use this exact strategy to get out of debt. People who felt completely stuck, people who thought there was no way out, and they did it. So can you. So that's exactly how you can pay off maxed out credit cards using velocity banking, even if you have zero cash flow. But here's the thing, paying off debt is just one piece of the puzzle. And if you don't understand the full picture of how money actually works, you're gonna keep running into the same problems over and over again. That's why I created a complete guide that breaks down everything that you need to know about money in 30 minutes. I'm talking about figuring out your true financial position, paying off debt the right way, building wealth automatically, and avoiding all the traps that keep most people broke. If you are serious about turning your finances around for good, click on this video right here. Trust me, this is the one that changes everything. I'll see you there.